this is just going to be my opinion and won't really mean anything, but it's something different to do. So we're going to start off with Voltaic General, and a lot of people disagree with me, but I don't think they're that good. Now they're solid for good foundations and stuff, but I don't think they're, if you're above a certain level, like, you shouldn't be playing them, in my opinion. And this includes the benchmarks and like their general playlists. I think they're sort of targeted for a broader audience that hasn't really had too much experience with aim training. But I mean, it's a good one, but I would only play it if I was a beginner or an intermediate player. Next up, the power movement. Now, this is a really good, actually, but this is one of those smaller playlists that you can just incorporate sort of into your aim training or into your playlists. It's sort of like the same scenario, but the bot does different strafes all the time in each scenario. So you're moving all the time, and you're getting different patterns that their bot is doing, and it's roughly 10 minutes long, but it's really good. And it's something you can just like slap on to your playlist, or after you're done with your playlist, just to add some dodge scenarios, you know? So this is definitely a good one because it's so simple and yet effective. Next off, we have the man himself, Bardos. While he does give great tips and he does have a good YouTube channel and stuff, I don't think this specific Valorant playlist is that good. Like, it's up there for sure, but I think it focuses very much on accuracy and nothing else, basically. But I think like something like Valorant needs a lot of things, but this playlist is mainly like just pokeball and accuracy static, like a very basic scenario. It's good, but it's not the best. Actually, I have to look this one up because it's hard remembering every single playlist. This guy is very good at making playlists, and he's definitely a little bit more advanced than the rest. I think he deserves the great spot, but not the Gigashad spot, because his playlists are unique and they have some unique scenarios. They're very one-dimensional. Like, his main playlists are static, but they're not anything special. They're just like, you know, very simple, focused on accuracy, focused on micro flicking, stuff like that. It's nothing special, but he does have some unique scenarios that definitely make them a little bit better, or make them stand out a little bit more. Next, however, we have this one. This one is the first GigaChad, alright? Officially the first GigaChad playlist. Now, why is this one the GigaChad? Because this one includes a lot of good stuff, includes accuracy, pokeball, and speed, which comes in the form of pressure aiming, and he does this all in like 30 or 40 minutes or something like that. So it's a really good scenario if you just want to play something quick, and you don't want to play like smoothness or something. You just want to play that, or you want to add smoothness scenarios to it later or something like that. It's really good, and it's called a daily scenario for a reason. It's a little bit shorter, but it's very effective, especially if you like static and stuff like that. Highly recommend this one. When I say just Zeke, I mean like a compilation of all their playlists and not a specific one, like him as a playlist maker. And I think his sort of style of creating playlists are sort of outdated, maybe because I have his older ones, but I'm not sure if he made newer ones. But I think his playlists are sort of in the acceptable or beginner only. I feel like we should throw him in the acceptable one. He has like some kind of basic scenarios that are good, but again, won't really help you if you're above a certain level. He has like the basics, you know, smooth bot, thin gauntlet, you know, stuff like that. Alright. Next one there we have, in my opinion, either beginners only or some of the worst playlists. This might be an unpopular opinion because I know a lot of people play his playlists, but in my opinion, Fallen's like way of making playlists are so bad, and just has like the most basic and upvoted scenarios you can imagine. Like, I don't know, this is like a worse version of Zeke, basically, in my opinion. And I'm just gonna put it on the lowest tier, just because I don't think many playlists belong here, but this one might belong here. And Huddled Static. I mean, he switched to Aimlab, so I mean, he's down there, right? Doesn't deserve to be up there. Next, the Voltaic Apex. Now I know what I said about Voltaic in general here, but Voltaic Apex routine is actually very, very good. It's almost like it's low-key Giga Chad level. It's in between, definitely like the first one here, her second one maybe. It's really good because it involves a shitload of things and it's very realistic. Like if you play this and then you play Apex, you'll be like, well, you know, this works for this. And even if you don't play Apex, like you don't have to play that. It's very good playlist just in general. Like don't be afraid to, like, if you don't play Valorant, I'm not going to play a Valorant playlist. Like no, you're still learning mouse control, right? Now, SDK has so many fucking scenarios or playlists that it's crazy, and it's hard to rate them all because I don't think I've played them all. But his reactivity scenarios specifically are very, very good. Like very solid reactionary playlist, and he's some of the first ones that do like reactive training and then like smoothness training and then reactive and then smoothness to like smooth out your aim to not get a shaky aim, because that's very common when you're doing a lot of reactive. So he's one of the first persons to do that, and I think he definitely deserves the great list. But some of his playlists are kind of questionable, but he's going to be up here only because of his reactionary playlist actually, which is very good. Now, Bell Static, he does have two. He has a compilation version and a normal version. The normal version is like, I think it's very like basic bad, but the compilation version, which is like 100 scenarios or something, and you just play it on random, is actually good. Like it's so many playlists that it's like it's hard to not make good because you're just playing it on random, right? But I'd recommend compilation playlists on overall. They're very good. All right, Viscose. Obviously, based aimer, obviously the Giga Chad, only because she's a girl. No, I'm just playing. But her speed, target scenarios, or sorry, her speed target switching scenarios are really good. Like it's some of the best. I played it one time and it's very, very good. It's not quite Giga Chad level, but I would put it somewhere here, in the middle of great tier. So it's definitely like, if you're like target switching, you need to get better at the speed part, I would really recommend checking out her speed target switching playlist. Now, this is a classic scenario, MP control ward of a player that is fucking insane, but he might be naturally good. You know what I mean? Like some people just pick up a mouse and they're just insane. You know what I mean? So whatever they do in the name channel, they'll just be even more insane, right? There are players like that, and some players, you know, struggle a lot. No matter what they do, fine-tune their details, play everything, try everything. They just struggle all the time, and that's just nature of life, basically. But I think he's a really good. His playlists are really good because it involves a lot of things that you wouldn't think about for COD, like a lot of reactionary training and a lot of smoothness training. So a lot of COD playlists are like target switching and static and stuff like that, which are great, but I think they're missing out a lot of tracking elements. So I think his playlists are definitely on top of acceptable or lower grade. I'm gonna put a lower grade. Very good playlist. It's a little bit basic, but it's good for sure. Actually, acceptable. Now the H&A routines are fucking Giga Chad, alright? These are the Giga of the Giga Chad. Great to help with under or over flicking in general. And they're like they really introduced me to this new technique of using target switching and pokeball to like adjust and improve your aims. Because I was like a static main all the time. But after playing pokeball, you don't have to think as much. Because in static, you have to be very conscious to play. And you have to like sort of think of all the mistakes and like split the flick into two parts with the Bardos technique and like do all this crazy shit. But in pokeball, you can just sort of like fucking close your eyes and go, right? And the same with flick target switching style of scenarios. You can just go, which really helps a lot of people and has helped me. Because it's not always you're in the mood to like be super focused or like hyped to play a name trainer, right? Sometimes you just want to put on a nice song and just bang, you know. And this is really good. So help you with under and over flicking. Really recommend all his routines. Now Lapu 4, he's made some amazing scenarios, like not playlists, scenarios, and some of his playlists are very unique. Like they always include some scenario you've never heard about, and like it still has upvotes. And I think the right word for him is like, if you want to play scenarios you've never played before, check Lapu 4 out. It's fucking crazy. Definitely in the great tier, not in the Giga Chat tier, because sometimes I feel like his unique scenarios are unique just to be unique, rather than like to actually help you improve. A lot of them, like 90% of them improve, but like 10% might be not, a little bit questionable. So he's going to be in the great tier, lowest grade tier. No, yeah, something like that. Now, obviously, 4-banger go-to playlist, my playlist. I mean, this is like, we need a tier above these. Obviously, this is like the best thing of all time. No, I'm just kidding. This is a really good playlist. I mean, I'm going to be biased because I've made this playlist for my weaknesses specifically. So, of course, it's going to be the best one for me. But it's definitely a good one overall. And it's actually a combination of RID smoothness, which is somewhere here, and H&A routines, and it has my flavoring added into too. So I've really combined two playlists and created one sick playlist. Actually, I had to check this one out, but Pure G Smoothness is like one of those OGs, one of those classic scenarios that has some very basic scenarios, but still good scenarios. Like even if you're an advanced aimer, you could still like get something out of this compared to like Voltaic General or like Fallen's Complete. Like those scenarios are too I don't know, they're just too old. I guess that's it. We've played like these styles of scenarios so much, but Pure G Smoothness is like, I don't know, he set up the playlist for some reason in a way that's like really good, and he's also one of the first people along with SDK to use the one-on-one technique, which is really good. And most playlists of the top aimers I see these days are actually set up in the one-on-one technique. So yeah, I believe these guys were like the first, SDK and Pure G. Anyway, the Yin or Yang routines, actually by a smaller YouTuber. I don't remember his name actually, but I mean, I'm guessing, I don't know. So a very good playlist. It's set up in like two opposites. So Ying is like reaction or tracking based, or has like 5-minute scenarios and stuff like that, and is like a very classic one. And then the Yang one is like just a compilation of a shit ton of playlists. They just hit on random and just play till you don't feel like it, which, I really like that style of aim training, since you get so much and so many different play scenarios and angles, and but similar scenarios, but like they're different in enough to matter. So you might play like Vox target switch, a bigger one, and then you might play like a Vox target switch that's like slightly smaller or slightly bigger or moves faster or something like that, and then you might hit random and you suddenly have a static playlist or something, or a scenario. So really good, definitely in the great tier, 100%. It's really filling up this thing. I mean, while I first heard of this playlist, I thought it sounded sick, like PvP smoothness and static. Like that's exactly my weaknesses, and that's exactly what I love to do and need. You know what I mean? When I checked it out, it was like so fucking basic that it's like kind of like I kind of want to put it on beginners or acceptable, kind of acceptable more. It's like a good one, but it's like it's not maybe specifically targeting what I need, even though I thought it. So it was kind of a disappointment for me. I'm gonna put it on beginners only, just because that tier is empty. And Huddled Static might actually be an acceptable or something, but we're gonna meme him. So now Tio is someone I haven't heard a lot of people talk about. I sort of downloaded his playlists a long time ago and kind of forgot about them. But I've been playing them recently, and even though they're quite old, they have some really good scenarios, and they're set up in he's one of the first guys I've seen that sets up his playlists like one 5-minute, then the other one 1 minute, then the other one 2 minutes, then the third one 6 minutes, something like that. It really spices up and makes the playlist just move along a lot faster than have 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, or something like that. He also has a one-on-one technique playlists, and he has a variety of like static and tracking and reaction, and all into one or split parts as well. So overall, definitely a great one. Definitely, he's a good like playlist maker overall. Grid smoothness. I mean, this is like, as I said, grid smoothness and H&A routines are what I based my playlist on. So a very good playlist, and Rid overall is like he's very what do you call it?
Educational.
Yeah. So when you look at his aim, you wouldn't know that he's so insane at like teaching stuff. You know, he's like a coach. You know what I mean? And his way with words and just the ways that he explains things in his YouTube videos really like makes sense, and it really comes out in his playlists. Like for some reason, I just feel like he's right when he's talking. It's very strange, but I think because he gets a lot of opinions from different people and talks to people, and he also does his own research, and he's read a lot into the subject, and he studies the subject, and I think he's a smart person overall. So I think his playlist, his smoothest playlist, is the one I've tried, and it's very, very good. Now Trippes, I haven't played too much of this guy, but I really want to. And I don't know why, but I really want to try some of his playlists. He has a lot of different speed playlists, which is very underrated. Not a lot of people focus on that, but he has so many like speed and reactionary playlists, and like that focus on flicking and heavy and fast movement and stuff like that. And I don't think a lot of people do that. Everything's like slow, controlled, you know, stuff like that. And that's sort of why these playlists are as low as they are, because they're so focused on what accuracy and static and, you know, the very basic stuff, instead of like sort of exploring or finding new stuff, right? Which is like definitely what this guy is doing. I haven't played it, and I can't say for myself. I haven't played all of his playlists, so I can't say for myself all of them. But if I would have played all of his playlists, like so far, it's definitely Giga Chad material. But I'm gonna put it on great just because I'm not sure about the rest. Static is a really like acceptable playlist. It's acceptable, but sort of like the same as Bill. It's just a compilation of a shit ton of static scenarios that you just like randomize until you don't feel like it. And again, has a good variety of like small, big, pokeball, everything you need for static. Very acceptable if you feel like just not caring. Play it. It's very good. Now Christmas is cancelled. He makes some good YouTube videos. I like his YouTube videos, but his playlist making, like when I've seen his versions of like, he has like some versions of the Voltaic and some version of some playlist I forgot. His versions are kind of like, I feel like they sort of mess things up sometimes. I feel like it's sort of over complicated, like being complicated just to be complicated. But I think they're good. I don't find them insane. They're just like alright. Gord, obviously insane. I mean, we don't need to talk much about this guy. His speed target switching scenarios again are insane. They're up there definitely with Visco's. I might prefer his over Visco's even, but they're like tied, you know what I mean? Only because Gord has more pokeball. Visco's is more focused on like a wider range of motion, I guess. So more like not 360s, but like 180s. And Gord is sort of like everything in front of you, which is what I more prefer. Now, YouTubers' playlists in general, like